What exactly is the meaning of the word meaning? And I think it's a word that is so overused, it's so familiar. Yet, when I ask myself, what does it mean to do something meaningful? What does it mean when something has meaning? I don't quite understand actually what that question is asking. So, anyway, welcome to this video. My name is Thaddeus, and for those of you who are new to this channel, my name is Thaddeus, and I have this channel just to record down my learnings, my journey throughout this entrepreneurship journey, and hopefully share some mistakes, lessons along the way, and really it's just to document down my thoughts, and hopefully it might help you in one way or another also. So just want to share a bit of story on the context of this video on what is the meaning of meaning. Just want to talk about it a little bit. Something which I was pondering about yesterday actually. Today is Sunday as of recording. Before that, let me plug in the charger to my laptop. It's about 13%. Yeah, so I was asking myself what is the meaning of meaning yesterday. I was doing a bit of reflection on myself, and I stumbled upon this question. I didn't exactly know how to answer that. I was trying to ask myself, or somehow I with a certain thought process, I kind of stumbled myself upon this question, which is what does it mean to do something that's meaningful, right? And I started realizing that I didn't exactly know what that question meant. So I hope I'm not confusing you so far, but let me just share a short story on how I came across this realization. So just 1 or 2 years ago, when I started out my in fact was maybe 2+ years ago, when I first started my entrepreneurship journey. I was aiming to actually achieve my first $100,000 in a year. And I realized that during that period of time, I could actually crank out 10 to 12 hours, I think sometimes even 14, 16 hours per day, working non-stop, just grinding it out 24/7. I would jump out of bed every morning, excited to tackle excited to tackle the day, so that I could always be one step closer to my goal, which was, I think back then it was about 8 to 10k a month. 8 to 10k per month is about 100k a year. And I was really excited to hit that goal. And I was doing that for 7 days a week. Literally, I was sleeping 5-6 hours every night. But the thing was, I didn't feel tired. I didn't feel demotivated. I was just something was just driving me. There's that inner force, or that something was just driving me. I don't know what that was. And I did that for a simple reason. So that at that time I was still schooling in SMU. So that I could. But anyway, so why was I so motivated? I wanted to do that so that I could set a foundation for myself, so that it would give me enough confidence to drop out of school. And this was a few years ago. And after I fast surpassed the goal, I had that confidence to achieve whatever I set out to achieve. Whether is it aiming for $100,000, or is it losing weight, or is it getting whatever I want to achieve. I had that confidence to know that if I set this, I know that I can actually get what I want, so long I had the path, right? And it wasn't long after that I decided to set a $1 million goal for my company, which I'm currently in the process, hoping to achieve it really soon. And that was the next big thing that got me really excited, right? And afterwards, so this was actually at the start of the year. I was just the 1 year the 1 year goal, 2021 goals. And that was one thing that got me really excited. So I realized it was time to go back to the grind mode of working 10-12 hours a day, Zen mode in front of the computer, solving problems, and just being extremely focused. But a few months in, I felt that things were starting to go downhill. Not the business, but the business was doing okay. Not too bad, I think. I mean, it's still okay. I'm glad to have mentors to come in this area, but what went down is not the business. What went downhill was my fulfillment and excitement in life. It started to go downhill. So at first I thought it was burnout, right? It's normal, right? I work 10, 12 hours a day. Of course, it's normal to feel tired, normal to feel burnout. So I took some occasional rest, felt a little bit better, but things didn't improve as much as I wanted to be. I still couldn't go back to the mode of being able to work 10, 12 hours a day, feeling excited, feeling fulfilled. I just didn't exactly have that. Something was missing. right? Then next I thought, maybe I was working on the problems which I wasn't good at, right? So it makes sense. As the business grows, I would have to work on different other areas of the problem, like hiring, culture, leadership, training people in a team, so many different things, right? Deal making, finding clients, it's never ending. Webinars, market, it's never ending. Um, Especially at the start, right? So things like for me in my situations, culture, hiring, communication, training, leadership, that was something that I was never ever good at, something that I was never exactly exposed to. When I was younger, I never held exactly a leadership position in school. Maybe once, but it wasn't exactly like. I think I was class monitor once. I can't remember. Maybe I was, but I was never like a. I never held exactly like in a leadership position before. It was not some. It was never. It never felt natural to me. Yeah, I mean, Elon Musk also says that, right? Like, there are always chores you have to do in business, right? You go into business to because you have a passion for something, but that you always have to do your chores. There's always some things that you might not enjoy as much, but you have to always to get them done. Even though it's something that you don't like, it's necessary. It's just like washing. If you want to eat at home, you have to do the dishes, right? Of course, you can hire, but I mean, the work, the other stuff comes in later. So I started to learn more about all these things like culture, hiring, leadership, training people, nurturing people. All these things I wasn't very familiar with. But I started learning more about all of these, and to be honest, I actually quite enjoyed learning about all of them from watching CEO interviews, learning from people around me in mastermind, learning from coaches. Specifically, I was learning leadership principles from Navy SEALs, Jocko Willink, and CEOs, Jeff Weiner, CEO of LinkedIn, hiring principles from Google and Amazon, how to scale culture from Amazon as well, and from fast-growing startup companies like Airbnb. I think it's fantastic. I learned a lot, and I think in that sense, my fulfillment I think improved a bit, but I still felt that I just couldn't go back to that God mode, what do you call it? When I first started my 6 figure goal, I still felt something was lacking, and I didn't know, right? So what did I have previously that allowed me to have that 10-12 hour work days back when I first started? Why don't I have it now? I don't understand. And that's where I started diving a bit deeper about human psychology and personality type, trying to understand myself a bit better. Right, so for those of you who are curious, I'm actually an INFP A based on the MBTI personality test. And anyway, so I was doing some reflection and studies over the weekend about INFPs, and I realized that why I've been feeling a little off lately is because it's an INFP. I think one of the things that is non-negotiable for us is that we have to be harmonious with ourselves. What we are doing must be congruent with what we believe in, what we are. Right, and for us apparently social impact drives us, right? Money not so much. Meaning is especially important to us, right? And if I'm doing something that just isn't aligned with myself, for example, if I'm teaching investing, if I'm teaching investing, I wouldn't be like motivated. Even even if the money is there, I wouldn't be motivated or have that drive, and I think I'll start like having an existential crisis, or like an identity crisis. So for example, if I were to sell a course on how to start an agency, or how to get clients, or how to do marketing, how to do sales, I'll start questioning life. And if I do it just to make money, I'll start like questioning life, because that is just not congruent with my values. I don't see the impact on that. I don't see why this has to be done. So then I ask myself, what is the meaning of meaning? What is the definition of meaning? Because I ask myself, since like my type or me wants to have meaning in the work we do, I started asking myself, okay, so what's the definition of meaning? Because if I don't understand, then I'll come up with the wrong answer, right? But if I understand the question correctly, probably, hopefully, eventually I'll arrive at the correct answer, right? So, is the definition of meaning is just reason, right? It's the meaning of meaning and objective reason of doing something. So for example, let's say the reason why I'm doing this because, or the reason why I am packing my room because it's messy, right? That is an objective reason. Or the reason why I'm eating because I'm hungry. The reason why I am taking the train is because I'm going to school, or I'm going to work, or the reason why I am putting on a mask because it's COVID and there's rules. So is it an objective reason? There's an objective reason, or is it subjective? Subjective meaning like I'm doing this because I want to help the world, I want to change the world. These are subjective, right? Not everybody wants to change the world, but if it's something subjective, it's something personal. Yeah, so I think that was the question. Is meaning objective or is meaning subjective? And I think it's important to understand the meaning of the word meaning, because if I don't, then I never really understand what makes me fulfilled and what makes me happy. Sure, I know I can have lots of money, like 1 million, 2 million, 10 million, a billion even. But what for, right? And again, I think it goes back to meaning. And I think the problem with meaning is that it's really hard to differentiate what is influence versus what comes from within. Right? It's not easy to differentiate what is influence versus what comes from within. So for example, something that is influenced from the outside is that, for example, the meaning of life is to have X amount of dollars. Or the meaning why you're doing this business, to have X amount of dollars, or to have X amount of clients, or to have X amount of people in your team, right? And if this person has achieved it, then I must therefore try to do it also. I must therefore achieve it. I can therefore achieve it. These are reasons, meaning, influence from other people, right? It's a you create that meaning that is derived from, not from within, but from outside, from an external source, right? And something that's influenced from the inside, this is slightly a bit different, which is, I think, comes mostly from self-actualization. For example, if I believe I can do this, then I must do this. Example, if I can build a 10 million, if I believe that there's a possibility that I can build a $10 million business from scratch, then I must do it, right? I think it's a self-actualization. So it's an inner force, right? But that doesn't mean that it's meaningful. So why entertain that possibility when it has no real meaning, right? Who are you trying to prove to? Is it yourself? And is there really a need? I think it's ridiculous, right? If you just want to entertain yourself because you just want to kind of prove to yourself, but is there really a need to? Is it logical? Do you really have to? So I think there's always these biases that tend to distort the actual understanding of the word meaning and or any meaning or purpose that comes from within, right? So I think it's not always easy, because I can say that, the reason why I'm doing this business because I want to impact thousands of lives, I want to make X amount of dollars. Is that like an actual meaning that you have for some reason, or is that just based on because like you watch on social media, or this is what social media portrays, or social norms, or you see your peers around you making X amount of dollars and hence I must do it also? Is it this, or is there something this within? So I sat down yesterday and I thought I wrote down on my iPad what I think meaning to me is, and I think I wrote down based on, I tried to be as objective as possible. I think it's not easy, and I think that being objective tends to guide you to the right answer. So I think the first one is impact on people's lives. I use this as a guide from what the personality type says, but I do agree, which is having this being able to see that my work has service to others. I can impact people's lives, not in the sense that like, I get 1,000 customers or 1,000 clients and hence I impact people's lives. Not really. I have to see it, right? If not, it's very, very superficial. That's number one. I think number two is, I think it's a problem that I feel if no one solves it, it'll be left unsolved, right? And if, let's say, I see a problem that I feel if no one solves it, it'll be left unsolved, and I have the capacity to do so, then I think it's meaningful to do it, because I think it's like a responsibility in some sorts. Like I have been given, let's say, the knowledge or power or expertise to be able to be. I see meaning in that. I think next one is probably having an edge over the rest to solve it. If let's say, if let's say I have an ability to learn, or if I have the ability to speak to animals, for example, like in terms of really understanding them, understanding their language, not understanding in terms of their behavior, but actually speaking to them. I might I might I might see meaning in solving problems in the area. For example, like if animals are not treated properly, or if owners tend to read their animals or their pets wrongly, I might come up with a solution or a problem, a solution for that product, for that, a service for that, to solve problems in the area. I think that is meaningful because I see myself like having an edge over it. So I see a responsibility for that. I think that's number two, or is it number three? I can't remember. I think the next one is having being able to, or rather the betterment of people's lives. I think this is one thing also. And finally, I think it has to be congruent with yourself, something which I touched upon just now, which is it shouldn't be diluted. I don't know if that's the right word. Or it shouldn't be self-deceived. It should be from within, right? So and that's why I think it's so important to, because I think one of the things which I'm afraid of, it's like I built something big, and then at the end of the thing I realize I'm not fulfilled. This is not what I want. I think that's one of the fears that I have, that I feel I've been hearing so many stories of like super successful people building the things that they want, but at the end of the day they realize that that's not what they want. They're left lonely, they are not happy, etc. Something that I don't want. And I think it's normal for people to feel to desire to feel fulfilled. Yeah, so I think that is just my thoughts for the weekend. I will be shooting more of these kind of videos for the rest of the channel. Something which I'm working on, which is I'm in the middle of working on the mission and vision of my life and my company, something that has to be congruent, and hopefully I can unlock that 10 to 12 hour work days, not because there's a desire or there's the desired outcome, but because I think I want to feel fulfilled in what I do, and hence I want to put in the effort. I want to be able to spend time doing it, versus just walking around aimlessly or floating around aimlessly doing things that make you temporarily happy. Example, like, I don't know, drinking, eating. Yeah, so these are just some of my thoughts. So that's all for this video. If you like these kind of videos, or if you want to follow me along my journey, click the subscribe button below, smash the like button, and then I release videos every Saturday, so do watch out for them, and have a great weekend.